On a remote, isolated island, Shunnong Corporation is conducting an unprecedented experiment, artificially breeding xenomorphs. These perfect killing machines of the universe are about to hatch and be reborn under human control. Inside the laboratory, researchers carefully slice open the outer shell of a xenomorph egg. These seemingly dormant eggs harbor deadly threats within, and electrics all leaves marks on the hard shell, while the soft tissue of the inner wall tears at the slightest touch. The moment a researcher cuts through the membrane, the embryos begin thrashing restlessly. They emit infrasensitive waves inaudible to humans, sending distress signals to their kind. Every xenomorph egg in the lab seems to come alive, and a dangerous atmosphere instantly fills the air. Fortunately, a face hugger hatches prematurely to calm it down for study. Researchers have no choice but to subdue it with an electric stun gun. Under the threat of its acidic blood, the dissection work proceeds with difficulty. Eventually, a precious xenomorph egg is successfully extracted and transferred to another laboratory. The synthetic Wendy is responsible for caring for these alien creatures. By mimicking the xenomorph's sound waves, she actually learns to communicate with them in basic ways. After brief contact, a strange connection forms between the artificial life form and the alien beings. The xenomorphs grow at an alarming rate, developing from juveniles to adult size within just hours. Thankfully, the laboratory uses specially reinforced glass for containment, but everyone knows that if something goes wrong, the consequences would be catastrophic. Meanwhile, the lab also houses other alien species. The eyeball creature displays remarkable intelligence. It assesses the danger level of its prey before striking decisively. Amid the sheep's agonizing bleats, the eyeball creature successfully replaces the host's eye, controlling the new body as it stands upright again. The synthetic Lanny handles daily feeding duties. When he prepares to feed the metal menace seeding worms, an accident occurs, the chamber door gets stuck, and he pulls too hard, ripping the door right off. Not wanting these little darlings to go hungry, Lanny decides to feed them by hand. He enters the password on the computer and opens the cultivation chamber door. The eyeball creature nearby watches coldly, seemingly plotting something. Lanny braces the door with his foot and carefully places food into the chamber, but suddenly, the door slams shut and locks. Lanny is trapped inside the metal menace seeding worms cultivation room. As a synthetic, Lanny thought he could escape safely, even hoping these creatures might spare him given his daily care. But reality cruelly proves otherwise in the eyes of predators. Food is food, deserving no sympathy. As the corrosive fluid begins to take effect, Lanny's body rapidly deteriorates. The eyeball creature watches this scene with cold indifference, then lazily enjoys its grass feed. Even more shocking, the lab director has been watching all of this through surveillance cameras without intervening. In his view, the natural law of survival of the fittest applies to robots as well. An insufficiently cautious synthetic being eliminated is simply part of the experiment. Meanwhile, synthetic beings who once carried out deep space missions are developing psychological problems. The youngest, Neil, insists he's pregnant and can feel another life from inside him. When researcher May tries to explain otherwise, Neil displays unprecedented aggression. For the first time, a synthetic shows dangerous tendencies toward human, violating their basic programming. May frantically hits the alarm, and guards quickly subdue Neil. However, amid this chaos, another conspiracy is brewing. The synthetic Ike has a surveillance chip implanted in his neck by Tengu Corporation, with his mother held hostage, forcing him to infiltrate the laboratory and steal his xenomorph sample. The mission is simple: bring a human close to a xenomorph egg, let a facehugger infect them, then smuggle the infected person out of the lab. Ike hesitates until he sees Wendy with her brother Mitt, and jealousy ignites within him. Why should other synthetics be separated from their families while Wendy gets to enjoy a reunion? Ike accepts the mission, targeting his brother Mitt. What he doesn't know is that the company has been monitoring all synthetic activities. His conversations with Tengu Corporation have been recorded. Meanwhile, after discovering Lanny's signal has disappeared, programmer Arthur immediately heads to investigate. Though recently fired, he considers these synthetics his children and can't just ignore the situation. In the laboratory, Arthur encounters Ike. Tengu Corporation needs a human host to incubate the xenomorph, and Arthur's arrival perfectly solves this problem. Ike struggles internally, but to save his mother, he has no choice but to push this kind man who treats him like family into the abyss. As Arthur opens the chamber door to remove Lanny's corpse, Ike quietly opens the facehugger's containment unit. Sensing danger, Arthur tries to flee, but the door is already locked. In his desperate gaze, the facehugger lunges at his face, yet the director continues watching everything with cold detachment. In his view, using a fired employee to contribute final value to the company is a profitable deal. Ike brings the parasitized Arthur back to his room, naively believing the host can survive. He even tries to feed Arthur, but the facehugger clearly doesn't like the taste of the nutrient solution. A knock comes at the door. It's his friend Black, who notices Ike's strange behavior. Though frightened by the horrific scene in the room, friendship drives him to help Ike. The two children prepare to smuggle the unconscious Arthur out of the laboratory. Surprisingly, they encounter Director Kezu at the elevator. Faced with two children carrying a facehugger victim, Kezu doesn't stop them but instead points out the correct floor. Everything is going according to his calculation. On their way to the beach, to avoid patrol guards, they hide Arthur to one side. But when they turn back, he's gone. While searching for him, the facehugger dies after completing its mission, and Arthur awakens. The patriotization process has erased some of his memory. He doesn't remember what happened before. Ike hastily fabricates a lie, saying there's been a riot in the lab requiring emergency evacuation. But on the beach, Arthur gradually recovers his memory. What just happened slowly comes back to him, and the children's lies are exposed. Like a father educating his children, he hopes they can recognize his mistake and come home with him. If there are difficulties, they can work together to solve them. Just as the three prepare to return, the Xenomorph chest burster erupts. Arthur dies in agony, and the chest burster quickly disappears into the grass. Ike panics. This juvenile is exactly what Tengu Corporation wants, and now it's escape. How can he explain this? Meanwhile, Tengu Corporation's Special Forces team has already reached the island. Since Shenlong Corporation refuses to negotiate, they've decided to directly seize the alien creatures. Seeing Ike return with only a corpse, Captain Morrow isn't surprised. His real purpose was using Ike to create chaos and provide opportunities for the Special Forces. But when the team infiltrates the base, they're immediately surrounded by guards. Kezu emerges from the crowd. This was all part of his carefully designed trap. Using a fired employee's life, he's not only lured Tengu Corporation but also incubated a Xenomorph chestburster. It's an incredibly profitable deal. As for the psychological trauma inflicted on the synthetics, he can simply delete the relevant memories. Now Morrow's intrusion into Shenlong Corporation's base is undeniable evidence, giving Tengu Corporation even less grounds to reclaim these alien creatures. However, neither Kezu nor the executives of both corporations realize that their power games have planted the seeds of Earth's destruction. That escaped Xenomorph chestburster will become humanity's greatest threat.